in Savannah, headed towards Bonaventure Cemetery. Just get a little video as we drive along here. The azaleas are in bloom. See all the Spanish moss in the trees. Said John Banks. I think Johnny Mercer's in here somewhere. We might find that. A tour bus in here. Drive their golf carts in here, good Lord. Stone or something in the tire. That's where my mom and dad used to park all the time and have their lunch. It overlooked the inland waterway here. We're gonna go for a little walk. This is the inland waterway, and if you look way over there, I don't know if it shows up along there, you can see vehicles. That's US 80, and the subdivision we lived in was probably right about there. And we're gonna go by the house and get a little video for you guys too. Anyway, my mom is here. We spread some of her ashes here, and we're gonna spread some of my dad's, and I'll show you where. I'm not gonna show you spreading the ashes though. It's really beautiful here. These flowers, and let's take a little walk here. Yeah, things are in bloom. So this big oak tree right here, that's kind of where my mom's off of. She loved coming here and the view, and both my folks are avid boaters. It overlooks the inland waterway. And of course, the cemetery. I don't remember where Johnny Mercer's grave is. My mom used to find it every time she came here. You can see the azaleas are beautiful right now. I believe this is it right here. Yep, this is it. Remember my mom sitting there. Yeah, what a beautiful cemetery. Beautiful resting spot. The size of that oak tree. Oh, I gotta smell these.
What people didn't know, it started coming out here in Bonaventure every single afternoon. Who's there, right?
So when you come to Savannah, you gotta come here. This is worth the trip in. This is the back side of the Mercer. Right there's the Mercer stuff. This is Ives. Alright, well, I'm not going to video the whole cemetery. There's a lot of people here. They run tours through here. They say this is a haunted cemetery. Savannah's supposed to be one of the most haunted cities there is. Actually had a buyer back out on our house when selling it. Back in October of 13, they made an offer. We accepted it. Everything was going through, and they kept asking if anyone died in the house. They backed out because they said they thought the house was haunted. I guess, you know, that's their prerogative. We ended up selling the house a few days later anyway. And we'll show you the house here shortly. We'll go by. It was in the Seagate subdivision on Jamaica Run, just off of US 80. Look at that tree. How big the trunk is. Hang on, we're going to put that in perspective. Wanted to put this tree in perspective, and I don't think you can really get the gist of how big it is unless I stand here. And yeah, it's that big around. Huge tree. It's absolutely beautiful. There's a bigger one on Skidaway Island. I think it's one of the biggest in one of these type of oaks in the south. And it's probably 3 times the width of my arms across. If I could do this 3 times there. There's the bridge from the mainland over to Whitemarsh Island. I cross that every day on my way to and from work. So that's the mainland. That's Whitemarsh Island. Wilmington Island's behind it. We're going to go around the islands and check our old neighborhood and house out now. These trees are evergreens. A lot of these oaks, they lose their leaves in the spring. So you have spring fall leaves like you have fall leaves, except the leaves fall here around Christmas. So you're cleaning up leaves around Christmas instead of Halloween. And then you're doing it again in March and April. This is the bridge that goes over onto Whitemarsh, so we're leaving the mainland and going on to the island that we lived on. The Bonaventure Cemetery is back over that way, where we just were. You just saw the video of the bridge that we're on now from the cemetery. This is all salt marshes, and from the looks of it, I would say it's high tide. I actually came across here last night to go to AJ's to eat on Tybee Island. It was low tide, all you could see some of them often. Had a really nice tide clock when we lived here. Anyway, we'll show you our subdivision here shortly. Those houses show up. They're just off of Johnny Mercer Boulevard, just across from kind of where we live. You can walk over there very quick and easily. This is our subdivision. That place is always crazy decorated for Christmas. Tour buses would stop in our subdivision just for that house. And that was one of our neighbors. Another one of our neighbors. That's where Iva lived, one of our neighbors. And this was our house right here. Looks really nice. They put a storm door on the front. Yeah, that was it. Lived there 6 years. Nice. Now we're leaving Whitemarsh Island. We're headed towards Tybee Island. not driving, so I can video. We went by some telephone pole farms and I was driving, so I couldn't video them, but they had planted a whole bunch of new telephone poles and they're really green and lush. It looked really nice. I'm thinking this island is Tybee Island. I don't remember the names of all the islands, but we're about ready to leave this island and go out on the causeway out to Tybee Island. And you've seen video of that if you've looked at my very first YouTube video with the 59 Bel Air. We're driving out to Tybee Island in it and on the causeway, so I'll put a link to that video in the description down below. Now we're about to head to the final waterway to leaving this island. It's a Bull River Marina. Now we're heading out to Tybee. This is what I used to call Cat Island. It's a boat ramp for the inland waterway, and I called it Cat Island because there's ton of cats out here. Cats are a problem. Feral cats are a problem in the south because they don't have the cold winters or anything to, you know, kill them off, I guess, so to speak. But you know, the fishermen would clean their fish here, so they always had plenty of food. But usually you'd pull in here and the cats would just swarm. Maybe they're down here anyway. Let's park and get out and take a look, see if we see any cats. That looks like it could be catty. We're at the end of that boat ramp, and if anyone's watched Forrest Gump in the movie, when he dives off the back of his boat while it was going out, this is where it was filmed, and these are the boats. And that's the final bridge over to Tybee Island. But that's the marina right there that movie was filmed from. And the boat may even be there. You know, they have tour buses, so they all stop around here. But the cats were stopped for the tour bus, and they'd have donation jars in restaurants for food. I'd sometimes stop at Walmart and buy a 50-pound bag of cat food and throw it out, and the cats would come out of the woodwork. They knew you were coming with cat food if they heard the bag, and they'd come up and walk right up against you and everything, and you could fill all their bowls everywhere. One 50-pound bag would do one feeding. All right, here you go. A little bit of the inland waterway. And the bridge onto Tybee. We're heading across Tybee next. I was just walking along here because they had like these houses people built with reeds and different things for the cats, to see if I see any cats, but I'm not seeing any. I think they probably, Savannah would do roundups of cats every few years, and you know, they'd round up thousands of cats, so maybe they came out here and rounded them up, because I haven't seen a single cat yet, and usually you couldn't come here and not see at least 20-30 cats wandering around. They'd be sleeping in trees and they'd be everywhere, so they're gone, I guess. The boat ramp in the parking lot, and that's the way we just came from, where you just saw some of the video from. And if you go back to my video, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or so, the Bel Air was parked right there, and I was yapping about it. So I'll put like I say, I'll put a link in the description to that video. We drove around Wilmington Island in that video with the Bel Air. All right, we're gonna head to Tybee now. We're kind of downtown Tybee Island, I guess. Let's move it out that window, but the rules of the beach. It's for sure high tide. There's the Atlantic Ocean. The pier. There's been nights to where you can walk in the sand and your footsteps glow in the dark. They get this phosphorescent algae that washes up. It's super neat when it does that. Alright, we're going to walk down the beach a bit. Yeah, jellyfish are not uncommon here. You get stung by them swimming if you weren't careful. Another one. Yeah, you got to make sure you don't even step on them now. They'll still sting you even when they're dead. They're all over the beach. Another one somewhere right there. Past quite a number of them. Yeah, I think it's mid-tide because high tide would be up there and all this would be water where we're walking. But I think the tide's going out. I don't have my tide clocks in my basement and at home. I had a tide clock on the wall here when we lived here, telling me what the tide was. This is Wilmington Island. This is the intersection of Skidway and Victory Drive, and do a left here, and we're going to go to the Home Depot I was based out of when I worked here. I worked 5 different stores in the southern region, but this was my home store, so we're going to go check it out. Well, I know this isn't going to be too exciting, a Home Depot store, and I haven't been in one in a long time, but this is the one that I was based out of. Well, I'm not taking the camera in the store, but I'm just giving you a quick peek. The store I worked in here. Ironwork is a common thing around here too in Savannah. You'll find some nice stuff though. Kind of see the we're at the corner of Liberty and Abercorn. We'll go through some of the squares too. Well, I don't know if the light's gonna bleach that out or not from behind, looking into the sun. (1762). Yeah, these are some old, very old cemetery here. There's those like historical marker things everywhere, but I'd have to make a whole hour-long video on just them, so I'm not gonna record every single one. But the oldest graves are back here in this back corner. We're gonna go back there. So the walk we're walking on, look, it's all seashells and whatnot, and the river street down by the river is like a stone, cobblestone street. It's all ballast stone from the Savannah is quite large shipping port, and wouldn't be surprised if we see a container ship come in when we go down to the riverfront eventually. See if we can find a year. That one's died 1810, age 23. Wow. This is one of the many squares in Savannah. Looks like some construction going up there with a crane. This is Broughton Street, downtown. I guess we should have videoed the bird girl in the Bonaventure Cemetery. Whoops, I should have gone. So pause here, read it. Pause here and read it. It's another one of the many squares in Savannah there, and a tour bus there. They're probably yapping about where we're at. I had a video that I took through, I think that set of doors. That was my second video I put on YouTube. Not sure which bench Forrest Gump sat in the movie, but this is the square that scene was filmed in. We're just gonna fake it. We're gonna say this is the Forrest Gump seat right here. You can kind of see it's a beautiful square. More Forrest Gump benches there. I think the azaleas have peaked. I think we're just slightly, I think they're probably early here, like the plants at my house are early by a month. It's just nuts. It's like 75 degrees out, just beautiful day. After doing some Googling, the Forrest Gump bench is not here because it was so many people were trying to steal it or take advantage of it or ruin it. So they moved it into a museum, but this is where the bench was, or the park. This is the park from that movie. I think that house on the corner was the Johnny Mercer house. We're obviously in another one of these squares. Look at that tree branch all hanging out there. Now we're at Forsyth Park. There's a wedding going on right over there. We'll walk up and around the fountain if we can. Hello.
Yeah, my interrupting.
This is midway through the park. Yeah, these oaks are just amazing, aren't they? Might as well get a little bit of the river. It's windy here, so sorry if the wind is... Yeah, that container ship is coming this way. You can see how high it is in the water. You know, those containers are all empty as they're leaving. Probably gonna go refill Chinese garbage.
Get up. Come on now, come down with you one night.
Maybe we'll get to see the propellers as high as it is. There's a ballast stone street. There's more ballast stone. Look at these steps here. That reminds me of being in the rocks in Sydney, Australia. This is the true unshaped ballast stone, and it's very difficult to walk on. Another container ship. This one's really high out of the water also. Nothing leaves the US, but everything comes in from China. Need to stop buying imported stuff and try and buy domestic. There is a gold dome way up there, believe it or not. Gold Dome show. It's noon.